There are two things in this world that really bother me. Number one is when somebody tries to insult my intelligence. Number two is when somebody tries to spew incessant, nonstop, constant propaganda in my direction, trying to get me to believe some complete and utter BS just to fit their own notions of right or whatever the case might be, or to fulfill their own agenda, if you will. And I look at the WWE, and they're doing that in so many instances, but one instance in particular, for one person in particular, and that is John Felix Anthony Cena. Now, I see through the bullshit. I see what WWE is trying to do. And I understand what the reality is, what the truth of the matter really is. I understand that the WWE is going all out. They have been for years, but you haven't seen anything yet. They are going to continue to go all out and do everything that they can as a company over the next 4 to 5 years, beyond a shadow of a doubt, to try and convince you that John Cena is the greatest WWE superstar of all time. If you think that this company is going in any other direction other than that, then you are kidding yourself. And that's just the way it is. You should be able to see right through the propaganda. You should be able to see right through the BS. You should be able to see through all the lies and the distortions that the WWE spits our way when it comes to John Cena. The WWE's coverage of John Cena is very Fox News worthy in terms of how Fox News will always take and spin a story to favor the conservative or Republican viewpoint, like an MSNBC would on the flip side as well. Try to do the same thing, not as well as Fox News does with their propaganda, but try to spin things in a pro-Democrat, pro-liberal kind of way. And that's why listening to those, whether it be Fox News or MSNBC, it's incredibly dangerous, because if you find that to be your primary source of news, more likely than not, you have a very skewed and distorted view of the world. They have, for so many years, tried to pump us up with all of this pro-John Cena BS. It's absolutely mind-blowing, to the point where when you do have a heel commentator, whenever, heaven forbid, you do have a heel commentator, they could shit on and crap on and blast and nitpick every single freaking babyface that trots out there on WWE television. Raw, SmackDown, doesn't matter. But when it comes to John Cena, by God, that's entirely different. He's good for the kids. He's good with the charities. You know, he's the man. He's the one that answers the bell. He's the greatest of all time. And all this other bullshit. And all it's doing is insulting my intelligence. And it's an attempt, and a pathetic attempt at that, to distort reality and facts to try and paint the picture that the WWE wants all of us to view. And I'm tired of this shit. The fact of the matter is John Cena is not an all-time great, period. No matter how much this company tries to tell us that, no matter how much this company tries to present him in a way to make it seem like that, this guy is not an all-time great, period. I'll give you a couple of sports analogies here, something else that I know that hopefully a lot of you can relate to. For the past several years, many talking heads in the basketball media, because they're morons, have insisted to you that Dwight Howard is a top 5 or top 10 NBA player. He's the best center in the league and all of that. Well, let's put it this way. A couple of things. One, if that's true, which it's not, then how shitty are the centers in today's NBA? Well, they are very shitty. Number two, if a Dwight Howard is a top 10 player in your league, how shitty is your league? The answer is very shitty. No matter how much spin and propaganda they try to put on Dwight Howard, if you want to say, well, he is the best center in the NBA today by default, how pathetic is that? Think about it this way. Would you take a Dwight Howard over a Hakeem Olajuwon, a Shaquille O'Neal, a Patrick Ewing, a David Robinson? No, the hell you wouldn't. Don't even bring up somebody like a Wilt Chamberlain or a George Mikan or a Bill Russell or any other great centers over the years, the Willis Reeds, the so on and so forth. You wouldn't take Dwight Howard over any of those guys. You wouldn't. No sane thinking basketball fan in their right mind would say Dwight Howard's better than Hakeem Olajuwon. Olajuwon would make him cry like a bitch. Ooh, he's better than Shaq. He's a better athlete. Shaq would destroy him. Fucking, I'll tell you what, Dwight Howard's not even in Dikembe Mutombo or Alonzo Mourning's league as a complete all-around NBA center. Nobody, and I say nobody, should ever classify Dwight Howard, even if you want to say he is the best in today's game. That's just an example of how pathetic today's NBA is. In no way, shape, or form does Dwight Howard measure up to any of the all-time great centers. Another example would be Chris Webber. A great power forward for many years in the NBA. A Hall of Famer. Not one of my personal favorites, a guy that I've liked to make a lot of fun of over the years. But the bottom line is, I will give credit where credit is due. Chris Webber was a franchise player, in particular for the Sacramento Kings. He was a great power forward, one of the best of his time, and definitely, no question, deserves a place someday in the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame, or in the Basketball Hall of Fame. But are you going to tell me that you're going to take a Chris Webber over somebody that was a contemporary of his, like a Karl Malone or a Charles Barkley or a Tim Duncan, or even a guy, again, that I don't even like that much, Kevin Garnett? Get the fuck out of here. Chris Webber is one of the best of his time, but he wasn't the best of his time, and he sure as hell wasn't an all-time great. When you look at John Cena, the reason I bring up these sports analogies is to give you some other basis of comparison to relate to. John Cena is the top guy in today's WWE. Yes, that's true. But why ultimately is he the top guy? Is it because, he sells so much merchandise, he's great in the ratings, he means so much to our pay-per-view buys? Does he really? Or is it the simple fact that after Brock Lesnar bailed on the company after WrestleMania 20, the WWE was looking for top guys that they could sit there and say, this guy's not going anywhere, this guy's not going anywhere. We could put all of our investment in money and eggs in these baskets, and we're not going to end up with a bunch of egg yolks all over our faces because these guys are going to stay. We're going to get year after year after year of investment. Return on the investment, It's not going to be as big as it could be, like with an Austin or a Rock or a Hogan or a Macho Man or an Andre the Giant or somebody along those lines. But it'll do just good enough, it'll be just safe enough to allow us to make just enough money to still turn some type of a profit, because God knows we need to be able to pay out our dividend to our stockholders. But that doesn't make the guy an all-time great. It doesn't make him an absolute super-duper top guy. They have repeatedly hammered and pounded and pounded and hammered and pounded and pounded John Felix Anthony Cena in this fucking top spot for the better part of close to a decade now. Close to a decade. They're giving him the Triple H treatment when it comes to the hammer, pound, hammer, sledgehammer, pound treatment. Trying to hammer him into the top spot and trying to convince you that this guy is that good. Convince you that this guy belongs in that upper echelon of the all-time greats. Now let me put it to you this way. When you think of Triple H, think of all the years that he was hammered down your throats and pounded up your arses. Did you at any point in time ever really, truly, unless you were a dyed-in-the-wool, 100% blinded by sheep-ass WWE propaganda, Triple H mark, did you ever truly believe that God, even though he is God and the founder of the Breakfast Club, did you ever truly believe that Triple H was on the same level of an Austin or a Rock? No, the fuck you didn't. Hell no. No matter how much the WWE tried to make it that way, no matter how much the WWE tried to pound this guy down your fucking throat, you knew better. And you knew they were insulting your intelligence. And they're doing the same fucking shit with John Cena. They're giving him this goddamn Triple H treatment. They're talking about, look at all the merchandise he sells. Well, let me put it to you this way. If merchandise sales and Cena's merch sales are good, but they're not as good as they should be out of a real top star in your company, especially with all the distribution avenues that the WWE has at their disposal today that they didn't have 15, 20, 25, 30 fucking years ago, if merchandise sales were that strong were that important, then back in the tail end of the Attitude Era, transitioning into 2002, 2003, when Hurricane Helms was a top 5 merchandise seller, that made him a top guy, right? That made him a main eventer, right? Get the fuck out of here. If merchandise sales were a true indicator of overall business success and importance to the business, when Zack Ryder was selling as much merch as just about any fucking buddy else, why did they only push him to a certain level and then kick him out to the curb? Merch sales are important, but they're not that important in the grand scheme of things. They're just one piece of the whole revenue and income pie, period. And to sit there and say, well, Cena's so much more than everybody else, that's because in part he's been pounded and pounded and hammered and hammered and pounded in that same fucking spots for so many years that you're not given any other real viable options. And anytime you ever are given the chance and the dictates of having a potential real viable option to replace him, here they come right back again to remind you he's Super Cena and he gets to do all the charity work and the Make-A-Wishes and the tribute to the troops and all this other bullshit. Let me stop here for a second. Pump the brakes for a second. Let me ask you this. Do you consider John Cena in the same class of, and I'm talking strictly star power and greatness overall, do you put him in the class of a Hulk Hogan? No, the fuck you don't. Andre the Giant, get the hell out of here. A Macho Man Randy Savage? I don't think so. How about a Ric Flair? Even Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes drew far more money in relation to the size of the territory he had and the period of time he had and in the time that he had than John Cena draws today. That's for fucking sure. So he's not even in Dusty Rhodes' category. Is he in Austin's category? Hell no. Is he in Rock's category? Hell no. I would argue he's not in Taker's category. Hell, I don't think Cena's even in Triple H's fucking category. He's not even in Bret Hart's category or Shawn Michaels' category. And when people talk about Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, they're like borderline talk for the best of all time or the greatest superstar of all time. Only the WWE would sit there and try and insult your intelligence by saying Shawn Michaels is the greatest superstar in the history of their company. And they did that because they're fucking pathetic. But even if you do think, oh, this guy's the greatest of all time or this guy's the greatest of all time, it's either A, because you're a huge fan of them, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's wonderful if you're a huge mark for Bret Hart or a huge mark for Shawn Michaels like I might be for a Hulk Hogan or an Undertaker. But you know goddamn good and well that they are not the biggest superstars in the history of the damn business. They are not the biggest superstars in the WWE's history. And you know this. This is well established. But John Cena doesn't even measure up to any of these fucking guys. Does he measure up to a Lou Thesz or a Gorgeous George or a Vern Gagne or any of these guys? Hell no, he doesn't. But yet the WWE is going to do everything they can. You mark my words, because you're already seeing it happening. They're going to do everything they fucking can over the next 3, 4, 5 years to make sure that they do everything they can to force you to try to believe that John Cena is the greatest superstar of all time. When he's not even top 10 in WWE history, maybe not even fucking top 15. Again, we could do the comparison. Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Macho Man, Taker, Triple H, Austin, Rock, Do I need to keep going? I'll keep going. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, I mean, seriously, Ric Flair, we go to other territories. Ric Flair, oh, hell no. Dusty Rhodes, oh, hell no. Lou Thesz, Vern Gagne, Gorgeous George, he doesn't measure up to any of those. Those are people, he doesn't even measure up to the fucking CEO of the company, Vincent K. McMahon, and his on-screen Mr. McMahon persona. Now that's a character that was a star. That's a character that drew real deal legit money. That's a fucking character that made stars and made the company better during his time at the top. What has Cena done to make the company better? He's worked with individuals. Sometimes he's put them over, sometimes he doesn't. But with all these times and all these years and all these opportunities and all these moments where Cena has been relentlessly pounded into that fucking top spot, why do the company's ratings continue to decline? Why do their pay-per-view sales or buy rates stagnate or decrease depending on the pay-per-view? Why is the WWE's name recognition in the mainstream perhaps at an all-time low? That's even with doing a show a couple of years ago like Tough Enough. That's even with bringing in The Rock for a couple of WrestleManias. That's even with having the Total Divas show on the E! Network. Having a freaking Raw show on USA. One of the largest cable networks in the country. Having a freaking SmackDown show on Sci-Fi. Big-time cable television deals. And John Cena is not delivering the goods. There are all these Raws where they're not selling out the venue. There are these pay-per-views where Cena's main eventing. They're not selling out the damn venue. But this is supposed to be the top guy. This is the guy that's supposed to be an all-time great. This is a guy that the WWE is going to continue to insist over the next few years to our own gagging reflexes that this guy is the greatest of all time and all others pale in fucking comparison to him. Well, I'll put it to you this way. Something that my viewers can relate to when it comes to the Schleg Daddy. You could tell me over and over and over and over again that Awesome Kong is just the same as Serena Williams. But no matter how much you pound and pound and pound and pound and pound, that will never be the case, and I'll never believe that bullshit. Nobody measures up to Serena Williams, damn it, in my book. But that's what the WWE is trying to do. They're trying to take the Awesome Kong, so to speak, and John Cena, and trying to convince you that it's freaking Serena Williams. Trying to convince you it's Gabrielle Union. Trying to convince you, some white girl that you might be attracted to. I don't know about them. This is ridiculous. I'm fed up with this shit. I'm tired of this company insulting my intelligence. I'm tired of this company, especially when I know better. And all of you know better too. And if you're not taking a stand against this shit and you're not rioting against this shit, then shame on you too. Not only are they insulting my intelligence, but they're continuing every week to continue to pump out this propaganda. You know, it's one of those things that if somebody is that great, that greatness will shine, and everybody will eventually recognize it. You look at the NFL, the way they've treated Peyton Manning, and even Brett Favre before that. They pump them down your throat so damn much that it does take away a little bit from their greatness, because you never talk about any of their flaws or any of their mistakes, because you find every excuse you can to possibly fucking mask them. You allow somebody in like today's NFL, like Drew Brees. They didn't just instantly hammer him down your throat and repeatedly do it for years and years and years and years and years. Maybe over the past couple of years, a little bit more so. But Brees' greatness shone on its own. He was given that time, and it happened more organically, more naturally. And this whole thing about John Cena being an all-time great, nobody else in that fucking company has a chance to become an all-time great. Whether that be a fucking CM Punk or a Daniel Bryan or a Ryback or a Sheamus or a Wade Barrett or any other fucking jabroni you want to fucking name, it does not matter. Take one of your favorites, plug the name in there, and it freaking fits. They're never going to get that shot as long as John Cena is fucking around, period. How is somebody going to be the greatest of all time when you don't even allow him to stand on his own 2 feet and prove that he's the greatest of all time, because you do everything you can to throw fucking boulders down on anybody else that ever would try to dare challenge that spot? You strategically position this guy for ego purposes, Vince, and you know you do, because you say, this is the guy that didn't leave. John Cena's going to be our Sting. He's going to be a lifelong WWE guy. He's going to be the brand. He didn't abandon me like Rock. He didn't go make movies. He didn't abandon me like Austin and walk out because of bullshit WWE created. He didn't leave on me for frickin' WCW like Hulk Hogan did. He didn't testify against me in the steroid trial like Hulk Hogan did. He didn't die like Andre the Giant did. He didn't die and go away to WCW like Macho Man did. He's our guy. And by God, I'm going to make sure that everybody knows that he's the greatest of all time. No matter how much you do it, Vince McMahon, you'll never convince me and any other sane thinking kid, teenage, or adult wrestling fan of this fact. John Cena is a big fish, a medium-sized fish at best, in an incredibly small pond. If you want to talk about in the past, people will say, and I've said it before too, talking about questioning some of Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels' greatness because they were big fish in a very small WWF pond at that time. Well, what the hell does that make John Cena? And he sure as hell isn't the performer of a Bret Hart or a Shawn Michaels. He sure the hell isn't that. He sure the hell isn't the widespread international draw that Bret Hart was. Even if Bret struggled sometimes to draw domestically, he had a huge, loyal, international fan base. And let me put it to you this way. If a guy is such a big fucking star and you've been hammering him as a babyface for so many damn years, why is it most venues he goes to, he still gets booed by at least half, if not more, of the crowd? Oh, that's some great freaking legend there. You portrayed him as a babyface for 9 years and he still can't get the right reaction. All this shit the WWE says about, oh, he's so controversial. There ain't shit controversial about his boring, vanilla, bland ass. Back in 2003, Thug and Alex, John Cena, different story. This John Cena, this watered down corporate BS, And you're going to tell me that, oh, it doesn't matter, they boo or cheer, everybody loves to see John Cena? No, the fuck they don't! Imagine having a freaking superhero movie where half of your audience hates Batman. Half of your audience hates Spider-Man. It doesn't make for a very effective movie, does it? Doesn't make for a very effective morality play, does it? And that's what the movies are, and that's what the fucking professional wrestling business sports entertainment is supposed to be. That's what the WWE is supposed to be. And when your top fucking guy can't even get the right reaction from half and sometimes more than half of your damn crowd, there's a problem. If he was truly that great, if he was truly an all-time great, if he was truly one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, he could walk into any fucking building, take any crowd that was totally one way, and flip them to exactly the way he fucking wants them to be. If you're telling me that's how you want John Cena to be, is to have the crowd split against him no matter where he is, then that just shows you how out of touch the WWE is. That shows you how ridiculous the WWE is. And that shows you just how arrogantly the WWE is going to continue to try and pound this guy down our throats and up our arses over the next several years to do everything they can to pull the wool over their eyes and try and pull a fast one on us and get the freaking narrative set to John Cena being the greatest of all fucking time. You know what I say? Humbug to that shit. John Cena could kiss my ass. You're nothing like an all-time great. You just happen to be the perfect beneficiary of nothing more than opportunity and timing. And by God, God bless you, you made a lot of money at it, and that's wonderful. But you'll never be a Hogan. You'll never be an Austin. You'll never be a Rock. You'll never be a Flair. You'll never be a Dusty. You'll never even be a Taker. Hell, you won't even be a Triple H. You'll never be any of those guys. But that's okay. The WWE would rather accept mediocrity. John Cena would rather accept mediocrity. And don't you dare say that John Cena couldn't do something about it. The fuck he couldn't. It's because he doesn't give a shit. That's what the fuck it is. I'm tired of everybody making excuses and oh, we don't like him, but he's so good with this, he's so good with that. No. In the WWE, the top guys run the fucking show. They always have and they always will. John Cena is the fucking top guy. That means he runs the damn show. And nothing that he does gets done by him unless he signs off on it and chooses to do it, period. And if you believe anything else, then you are stupid and humbug on your ass too. You're never going to fool me on this bullshit, WWE. I've seen true greats. I've seen all-time greats. I've seen the greatest of all time. And John Cena fails every measurable test imaginable to any professional wrestling or sports entertainment fan. Humbug.